We are here in Jerusalem's Old City in Christchurch, and this is the first part of a three-part series where we will be talking about the breach, this incredible rift that happened between the Jewish people and the church. I would like to start with a story that I experienced years ago in China. I was invited to speak to a house group leaders gathering in a city in China. Those house group leaders, they represented close to 1 million believers in this area. And they told me very excitingly that I was the first person from Israel to share to them about Israel. And I started with the ABC about why it's important to bless Israel. And I very quickly realized that those people knew everything I was sharing to them. At the end, I asked them, so who did teach you about that? And I never will forget the amazing look on the face of the pastor. He looked at me and he says, Jürgen, what do you mean who taught us? This is all in the Bible. And talking to him, it made me think, what happened in the church that a teaching that so obviously is in the Bible, that Chinese Christians understood it by reading the Bible, has become so misunderstood and misrepresented by the church over the last 2,000 years. It's even more amazing if you look at the teachings of Paul. Paul had a very deep concern and love for his own people, the Jewish people. We need to understand even the early church in Jerusalem, it was an exclusive 100% Jewish community that was gathering here in the city. And when Paul later wrote about the Jewish people to the church in Rome, he said something like this, for example, in Romans 9 verse 3, he says, they, the Israelites, to them belong the adoption, to them belong the glory, the covenants, the giving of the law, the worship, to them belong the patriarchs, and from their race, according to the flesh, even Messiah was coming. That means Paul had an incredible understanding of the calling of the Jewish people. And then he also said, he says, even if they don't accept that Messiah, if they don't believe in Jesus, in Romans 11 verse 28, he says, they are still beloved for the sake of the fathers. The first reason why this breach between the church and the Jewish people was taking place is going back all the way to the early decades of Christianity. The Roman Empire was coming into the city of Jerusalem, and historians like Josephus, they are telling us that a large part of the population was sent into exile. And just a few decades later, with the revolt of Bar Kokhba, Hadrian, who was the emperor at that time, expelled all the Jews that were living here in Jerusalem and most of the Jews that have been living in the land of Israel. That means by the year 110 and 120, there were virtually hardly any Jews left in the city of Jerusalem. And we see this also in the church, that by the year 130, for the first time in church history, the very first bishop here in Jerusalem became a Gentile. That means for the global church, the center of gravity was shifting away from Jerusalem. It was shifting to Constantinople. It was shifting to the city of Rome, where people were looking from now on in the future for direction regarding Christianity. And this was the beginning of the breach. And we will see in the next show that this breach even continued further in the coming centuries. And it's important for us to understand this because God is restoring this breach in our days.
Thank you for watching Encounter Israel with ICEJ. Please share this video, and on YouTube, subscribe to our channel. And for our Canadian residents, you can ask for your free Canada Israel pin. To learn more about the International Christian Embassy Jerusalem and how you can be a blessing to the nation of Israel, visit icejcanada.org. We look forward to connecting with you.